stay out of this region of the Philippines.
Marched up the gangplank by heavily armed men brought to waiting speedboats.
That's often what I tell most of my clients who are looking to travel to the Philippines for the first time. Well, what zone is that, you may ask? What's typically called the red zone of the Philippines, and it's a pretty unstable, full of attacks, full of bombings, full of kidnappings, holding for ransom, which is actually what just recently happened with this 26-year-old. We're actually going to be covering that, and I'm going to cover most of this particular region and what areas might be more safer than others. This is my personal opinion. If you want more information, please talk to your foreign embassy of which areas are suited as more safer regions and which areas and towns are not. So to actually start, I actually want to cover this recent kidnapping down in Mindanao, Philippines. It says here, police in Sibuco town, southern province of Zamboanga del Norte, tried to pursue the suspects' abductors and their victim, who they identified as Elliot Eastman, 26, from Vermont, after the reported abduction on Thursday night. From my personal research, he was a small-time YouTuber. We'll actually go ahead and cover his YouTube channel a little bit, and he actually knew some of the dangers when he was traveling down in this particular part of the Philippines.
That's why I feel like your life is dangerous. I know what I'm saying. Like if I leave you here, what happens here?
And today I do want to cover why this is a particularly dangerous area and why many people should actually not go down here. We confirmed that there was a report of alleged abduction of an American national, and the regional police said in a statement that we wanted to assure the public, particularly in the community of Sibuco, that we are doing everything in our power to secure the safety of the recovery of the victim. The police asked the public to immediately provide any information that could help ongoing investigations of the reported abduction. Two police reports have seen the Associated Press and that a resident of Sibuco, Abdumali Hermesian Jala, I might have butchered that, reported to the police that four men in black clothing were armed with M16s rifles, introduced themselves as police officers, forcefully took Eastman, who tried to escape. One of the gunmen shot Eastman in the leg. And dragged him into a speedboat. One thing I do want to mention, this seems like it's a pretty common tactic. They would often cripple their victim so they couldn't get away, like they shot him in the leg, and then they would immediately rush him into a speedboat. This also happened to several other individuals, so they can quickly get out of the region, and they would immediately go out to sea. And typically what they would do is they would go to a pretty seclusive and or nearly deserted island, and then held this person hostage until they got the ransom that they needed. And unfortunately, in many cases, even though after they got the ransom, they would either ask for more money for a higher ransom, trying to see if they can get more money out of it, and or if not, they would take them out.
Isn't that right, Headless Darth Vader?
It's really unfortunate, but that's the game of these things. And I am praying and hoping that this particular gentleman can be delivered back to his family. Allegedly, he was married to a Muslim woman in this particular region. Policemen chased but failed to find the gunman and Eastman and alerted other police in the Philippines, Marines units in the region, according to the reports. Philippine authorities didn't immediately provide background details on Eastman, but a person with similar name has posted pictures and videos of himself on Facebook. He also was posting it on YouTube, saying that he married a Muslim woman from Sibuco. Based on the initial profile given to us, Eastman got married to a local in the area. He had been there for about 5 months. The regional police spokesman, Lieutenant Colonel Helen Gelzev, told Agence France Presse. I think that's the name. The U.S. Embassy in Manila didn't immediately report the questions about the reported abduction. The southern Philippines had a bountiful resources but have long been hamstrung in stark poverty array of insurgents and outlaws. A 2014 peace agreement between the government and the Moral Islamic Liberation Front, the largest of several Muslim separatist groups, had considerably eased widespread fighting in South. Relentless military offenses have been weakened, and smaller armed groups like the notorious violent Abu Sayyaf group over the years, considerably reduced kidnappings, bombings, and other attacks. The Abu Sayyaf group, which is listed as a terrorist organization by the United States and in the Philippines, is an offshoot of decades-long Muslim-separated unrest in the South carried out by massive kidnappings for ransom and beheadings and bombings for more than 2 decades ago in the southern region. They target Americans in the western tourist regions and missionaries, most of whom were freed after ransoms were paid. Most. A few were killed, including an American who was beheaded on the island province of Basilan, and a U.S. missionary who was killed while the Philippine Armed Forces were trying to rescue him and his wife in 2002. That's actually the Burnham family, and they're actually in a rainforest town right here, it says. That's actually a pretty well-known one. She actually wrote a book about this situation. While the Philippine Armed Forces were trying to rescue him and his wife in 2002, I think they actually got kidnapped in 2001.
Martin Burnham was killed during a rescue attempt by the Philippine Army, but his wife Gracia survived. Family members say that during Martin's final hours, both he and Gracia had a sense that they might not make it out alive.
In the rainforest in Sarawi town near Sibuco. This is like my personal take of this region. I did kind of confirm these particular towns with my wife. I did outline a little bit on a map about which areas to kind of stay out of if you are planning on traveling down in this way. I don't think every area is completely unsafe, but there has been some situations in the past, basically, regarding like bus bombings.
Authorities found that an improvised explosive device had been planted in the bus, which was on its way to Dipolog City from General Santos City. The 4 injured passengers have been sent to hospitals and are still undergoing treatment.
They actually bombed the Rojas Street Market at one point. You don't just have to worry about these extreme jihadists. Sometimes you also have to kind of worry about the NPA, which is the New People's Army. That's actually a communist organization.
Said 9 New People's Army rebels were killed in an armed encounter on Christmas Day with government troops in the hinterlands of Malaybalay City, Bukidnon.
But that's actually kind of relaxed also, since they've kind of taken out a lot of the NPA leaders. The Philippines will hold midterm elections next year for more than 18,000 local, national, and congressional posts, most provincial mayors and governors. In the traditionally violate the South, crimes include kidnaps and extortions have traditionally spiked as a rogue politicians have tried to raise funds to fuel their campaign, but only a few have isolated incidences that have been reported in the recent years. That's actually kind of true, according to authorities. So what area is this actually called that you should actually kind of avoid? Well, it's actually called the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao. It's a group of different provinces that you should really try to avoid. It was formerly known as the Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao because of the ratification of the Basic Law. I think that has to do a little bit about the Sharia law, and I do know that President Duterte was kind of dealing with some issues and trying to ease some tensions within this region.
Symbolic copy of the legislation to the leader of the Philippines' largest Muslim rebel group. On Monday, President Rodrigo Duterte saw in what could be the dawn of a new peace in the country's Muslim south.
May this serve as the final trajectory for the attainment of genuine peace, stability, good governance in Muslim Mindanao.
So the Philippines is separated into 3 different regions. I guess kind of 4, but this is Palawan. Also over here, you do have to kind of watch out for Palawan. A lot of people do like to go to El Nido. You do have to kind of watch out for the food because a lot of people do report that in El Nido right here that they often get food poisoning. It's a beautiful area. I haven't been there myself. The actual shoreline is beautiful looking. People think it's beautiful for pictures, but particularly, especially the Burnham family, they are actually taken out of the hotel near Palawan, and then where this other gentleman was taken at, he was actually taken down in here. And I guess where they even found a right around where the Burnham family was actually near this Zamboanga, this region here. This seems like it's a pretty hot spot. A lot of people get abducted, particularly from this particular region. But first, I'm going to tell you that the first part up here is Luzon. I should actually make a map for this. Luzon right up here with Manila. Then you have Visayas, this whole island structure here. This falls the Visayas region. Usually people like to go here, which is Cebu, and travel throughout Cebu, Bohol, and Opslop, and even sometimes Dumaguete. And then down here, this really big island, this is actually where my wife actually lives. This is Mindanao. A lot of people actually consider Mindanao as probably the most dangerous area. I would actually argue against that, but I'm not an expert. There has been some instances throughout Mindanao that has given it a pretty bad reputation. But particularly you want to stay out of the whole western region. But some of that Muslim extremist organizations does go a little eastward. And I wouldn't say it's completely dangerous, but there has been some issues in the past. So now that we kind of see that this particular region down here, it's a level 3 to level 4 no-go zone. I'll actually show you here. Philippines Travel Advisory. A level 1, exercise normal precautions. Level 2, let's see if I can zoom in. Exercise increased cautions. Level 3, reconsider traveling. And a level 4, do not travel. Philippines is a level 2, exercise increased caution. And then it starts saying down here near Marawi, Sulu, this is the western part, exercise increased cautions Philippines due to crime, terrorism, civil unrest, and kidnappings. Some areas have increased risks. Do not travel to the Sulu Archipelago, southern Sulu Sea, to crime, terrorist, unrest, and kidnappings. Marawi City, Mindanao, due to terrorism, civil unrest. I will put this down in the video description so you guys can have this information for yourself. So now that we covered that, this is the Abu Sayyaf group, ASG. We don't know if this was the group that was responsible for this particular abduction, and we're still waiting for results to see if this guy is still alive. I don't know this personally, so take this with a grain of salt, but this gentleman did seem like he was being a little irresponsible. He may have been putting himself in a bad position, and he was particularly warned. He may have also been threatened by several people in this particular region. He may have been held by his own family at will. I won't say this for certain. It's really unfortunate. Maybe his wife might be really grieving. This is something that we should all pray about, especially for his rescue. I do want to mention that if you even do know that you're putting yourself in this high-risk area and you're trying to get a thrill out of this, even trying to make content like this guy was, you're not only putting yourself in danger, but you're also putting other people at risk and even in danger and even costing their own lives trying to rescue you if this particular situation happens to you. It's really unfortunate that this did happen to this individual, but he kind of knew the dangers. Whatever it was, he saw the signs, he saw the situation, he even made videos about it, that he could have protected himself from this particular issue, and he could have got out of there. And this is a list of all of the regions that it's kind of a do not go zone. Then there are other areas here that are lower risk, but you should still maintain caution. Again, I will also put this down in the video description of this particular link, so you can have this particular list also. I might butcher the names, but we're going to kind of cover that. So the first thing is I want to tell people is that this is what it looks like. Stay out of this region. You got the Sulu Islands up here, and then you got Zamboanga. Then you got over here, you got Marawi City. Actually, back in 2017, Marawi City got sieged, completely devastated and destroyed. And this particular area is where a lot of those abductions have happened. And this is actually where he actually got abducted, right here in Sibuco. Me and my wife have traveled all through here. I didn't feel at all unsafe traveling through there. We did travel through a military checkpoint. We had to roll down our windows down in Bukidnon, all the way down to Davao City. We went all the way up these mountain regions. It was actually really nice. I didn't feel endangered. We rented a car for only $83 for about 3 days. It was cool. I will mention that if you are planning on traveling and driving in this region, watch out because they are kind of expanding the roads. The roads are kind of unfinished. There's no warning signs about whether or not you're going to hit gravel or if you're going to hit a particular zone in these areas. Just driving along and then suddenly there's just construction. There's no like cones out or anything. Occasionally there is like a local navigating you through some of these zones, but not always. I will mention that, you know, even like Dipolog City right here, if you do need to travel, there's a ferry system through here. If you need to travel through here, either by bus or by public transportation or even your own personal transportation, don't stop there too long. Don't stay there too long. This guy was staying in Sibuco. He was staying there for quite a long time. These people planned out this tactic to steal him. They had everything together. They acted like police officers. They had M16s. They had a boat ready. There was 4 of them. They knew exactly where they were going. This is a planned tactic. And what you need to do in these particular situations is to move around a lot. And if you can, head to a more safer region in the Philippines. There are way better islands, way better provinces. Even on the eastern side of Mindanao, there's some beautiful places. Go down to Davao, go all the way to Cagayan. Actually, even a lot of people, I promise you, will even go to Siargao City. They really like Siargao. There's a lot of things to do in Bohol. If you get the chance, travel around a lot in the Philippines. Don't try to stick in one area. Sightsee the Philippines. It's a beautiful region. There's so much to do. And plus, it kind of just generally keeps you safer. And then also, what I want to tell you is not all of these regions are currently dangerous. I do know that me and my wife, when we were traveling the Rojas Street Market, they did pat her down and checked her purse. And they wanted to make sure, because the Rojas Street Market back in 2016 did get bombed. And that was a really unfortunate event. But while we were traveling down in Davao, I didn't really feel in danger at all. I think I felt pretty protective. The Philippines kind of has security guards everywhere.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome back, sir.
Hello.
How are you today?
Thank you, sir.
Camera equipment.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
See you guys. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
It's so scary.
Even when me and my wife had our honeymoon down in Davao, they have security guards all over throughout that too. I can actually show you that they even checked underneath my car.
Yeah.
So stop. Right. Hello. Checking Leonard's car. Are we clear?
Thank you.
Are we good? Are we good?
We're good.
I also want to just kind of add that if you can, just travel light, travel cautious. Don't put yourself in situations that you would be a prime target. Don't let other people try to intimidate you. Make sure you know where you're going. Make sure you ask others. Make sure you even take guides with you. You can actually hire people to guide you around. I mean, if you got some money, you can actually have people protect you. I don't think it's really necessarily needed. I do overall think the Philippines is a pretty safe country, probably even compared to where I live in St. Louis, which is like number 3 on the most dangerous city in the United States. I didn't really feel unsafe. I actually had security guards opening up doors at McDonald's or at Jollibee's in the Philippines. I know it's really scary for most people, but I wouldn't say that it's a complete danger zone in the Philippines. But it's really unfortunate, especially if you do live in the Philippines and you are looking to relocate, you're not allowed to have a gun. Foreigners who are looking to relocate in the Philippines, they're not allowed to own one unless you're an actual Filipino citizen. Yes, your foreign spouse could own a gun for you, but unfortunately, you as a foreigner, you're not allowed. Well, anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you did get some helpful stuff out of this, if you have any questions, put that in the comments. Like and subscribe to this video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.